So we are a part of Team Lakshya, and we are here to present how we cracked some case competitions with a star saying that in the most unique way, because we think that whatever we are going to present today isn't Googled or isn't taken up from any other source. It's all about our experience. Very brief introduction. So I have completed my MBA from IIM Lucknow. Currently, I'm working as a program manager at Amazon. So I'm basically leading the Dubai and UAE operations for Amazon India. Achievements, a few of them, I got an all-rounder scholarship from IIM Lucknow, won some 18 national case competitions. We both of us won the Hari Prize actually, and I started another venture.
Yeah. So I think Ayush was kind enough to introduce me. So I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. I'm currently working with MasterCard as a consultant. And a few of my achievements are very similar to Manav because we have been working in the same team for 2 years. So we were friends, and then we just started this team to, go on with all the case competitions. And then we never just left our sides. A few unique things about me. I'm
ready to witness something very cool. See, we will be very informal. We know you are much more formal in your lives, but let's forget all those things. You can remove your blazers if you want. Sorry to say that. Yeah. So let's keep this a very informal thing so that the communication is two-way, and that will enable a better learning. Definitely, we both are juniors to you, so it would be better if we can take a two-way conversation at any point of time. Just raise hands and ask questions in the chat box. And also, there is something which is at the end of this presentation. You might qualify for something. Let's see, whoever listens to this PPT well, he or she will be able to qualify for that award or something we have kept for you. Okay, so before we begin, let's have a fastest fingers first. You can use the chat box and see there is no award for this, but there is no right or wrong answer. The next slide will have a question. Just write your opinion and please only write one answer. Don't write multiple answers. So guys, what do you think should be or would be the success mantra for any case competition? Please type in the word instead of writing the number. It would be easy for us. Team idea research. Gujo, can you summarize the answers? You're on mute.
Yeah, so sorry. So yeah, mostly people I think are going with the team, and then there's research and idea. A few people are selecting that as well.
Okay.
And then there's one person saying firms culture also. I'm really happy to see that.
Okay, guys. So your results have already been compiled. Fortunately, we have an algorithm which compiles your results from the chat box. Just kidding. But yeah, what we expected was what you answered. Most of you missed the actual thing, and I guess that's because you might not have participated much, or you are in the beginning stages of going for case competitions. And that one person definitely knows a lot who has mentioned the culture thing. Most of you missed that 25% bar there, and I will keep on repeating this throughout the presentation that this 25% is a make or break in any case competition. No one will come and tell you this, and you will experience it after either you win something or you lose out because of some other team using this particular bar. So what is this team? What is this culture? This is not a team culture. This is not your college culture. It's a culture of the corporate where you are going for that case competition. So I'll take up the idea thing later. Just giving you a very brief example of a culture related thing related to my own firm, which is Amazon, and how we cracked Amazon Ace because we knew that the culture thing was a make or break for us. So guys, culture is something that a company, I would say that a company follows in their daily routine. So whatever is the trend inside the company, for example, a company like Amazon, it was focusing a lot on hiring a lot of sellers for their e-commerce business last year, and we somehow had an idea of how they are doing so. So how we came to know about these particular things, number one, through alums, definitely. Number two, through those people who had interned at Amazon. And then we also went on to look at Twitter accounts of some directors, vice presidents, and country leads of Amazon. What were they tweeting around? So most of their tweets were around giving more powers to MSME sector in India, how they can enable MSMEs in India to sell globally, not just in India. So these tweets gave us an idea that the company is looking for something like this. So when you have a knowledge about what the company's leadership is saying, and number two, what are the tenets a company lives by. For example, Amazon has 16 leadership principles, and there is a extreme level of focus on these 16 LPs, which we call at Amazon. Everything you do should and definitely should be focused on at least one leadership principle. So when we present something to our management in our daily routine, we have to check whether our document is as per at least one LP. It can have multiple leadership principles, but at least one should have been satisfied in your document. So that was the trick we used, since I had interned at Amazon and I had a brief knowledge about that thing. So when we were preparing our document for the Amazon Ace National Finals, we focused a lot on customer obsession. See, customer obsession is a leadership principle which is always at the top of Amazon's list of LPs. So we focused that our document should be something which should be customer centric instead of company centric. And there were a lot of teams which presented brilliant ideas, hardcore financials, heavy amount of profits for the company, but they couldn't explain the customer side. And what we did, our document was very simple, easy to read. Any newbie can come in and read it and very easily understand it. And it had everything for the customer, that what we are going to do, how it benefits the customer instead of the company. So for us, customer was one, company was two, and then the other things came. So that helped us in cracking the Amazon is. Similarly, we'll discuss about some more case comps in this presentation, and the culture thing will keep on coming up. About the idea, see, idea is always the go-to thing. If you don't have unique ideas, or I would say, even if your idea is not something out of the blue, not too innovative, it should at least be something that enables the company to do their existing work better. So that's called an iterative idea. So you can have a hardcore innovative idea, which might take extreme amount of money or time or something else to implement, or you can have iterative ideas which build upon something existing, and then you are able to create. For example, you can save costs, you can increase productivity, you can increase customer acquisition, anything which helps the company in its existing goals. Gujot, you can cover the others.
Yeah, just one thing that I would like to add to the culture part is it's also about the business ethics, and this becomes very important in the marketing case especially, because every company have their own idea of marketing, so they market it in a certain way. For example, like very common example when we see on Instagram, social media marketing, we see that Burger King always is always teasing McDonald's, talking about their burgers and degrading them. On the other hand, we see that McD never mentions about Burger King. Very rarely do they retaliate to their attack, and they are generally more focused on marketing their product. So there's a little difference in how each company markets, and this is one particular thing in culture that especially comes in if you're dealing with marketing cases. Talking about the research part, primary and secondary research, I believe, are the most important part, because you'll always get to brainstorm about the ideas or know about the ideas, iterative ideas, especially when you do a lot of research. You can see what the competitors are doing, how the industry in general is working. So secondary research becomes very important. And as Manavdeep mentioned, that Amazon is also customer obsessed, and marketing companies generally are also customer obsessed. So primary research becomes a very important part. Even in our internships, so I interned with P&G, even there my focus was to understand how people use the product. So I was working in the baby care segment, and I had to call new moms and understand what kind of diapers are they using and why a particular brand of diaper. So it became very important for me to connect with new mothers. Similarly, in some other case competition, wherein we were dealing with some target audience, it became very important for us to reach out to those target audience and know what their perspective about different brands are. So we'll talk about the primary research more in detail when we get there. Talking about the team part, as I mentioned that Manav and I, we happened to be friends like even before, we thought of starting with case competitions. So it was a pure coincidence that, we just formed this team and it worked for us. I won't say that I haven't done competitions with other teams, but it always felt nice when I was, doing competitions with him, because the other two people also that we had in the team. So it became a very diverse group. So I had a completely different background. Manav was a mechanical engineer. I was, interested in operations and all. I was a bit more towards the marketing side. We had a CA with us who was, very good with finance, and another girl who was good with strategy. So it became a very diverse team, and it really helped because all of us had very different perspectives when it came to brainstorming about the ideas, and it helped us a lot, I would say. And also we made sure that we connect on a regular basis. Even if let's say 3 out of 4 members are present, we used to go about the meeting. So we did not used to cancel it that the fourth member is not there, so we should not do it. And I always suggest this to people because we generally keep waiting for people. So even if you are 3 members are there, just go on with it and update the fourth person, and then just carry on with it. Don't stall the meetings. I think that was a very important part, especially in this virtual environment that we have. Talking about mentorship, I think just knowing once that how you should go about a case competition is fine. You can maybe connect with your alumni with different, of different companies when you're doing different case competitions, and understand about different, aspects of the competition, or maybe, the company culture, as Manu was mentioning. But if you want some mentorship on how to go for a case competition, I think this session will be enough. So you do not need to, go running, for people to give you pointers on how to go about it. And number of participants definitely does not matter. Generally in competitions, the number is specified. 3 to 4 people are generally there. So accordingly, choose a team, and, whatever suits the best for you, go for it. Don't think too much about, how there should be more number of people or less number of people. Manav, if you want to add anything.
Good to go. So guys, talking about the rounds, so we have just summarized all the case competitions. So one of these 3 would always be there in any case competition. So generally they have a pre-elimination round, you can say, which is a quiz or a test. Some pointers would be to focus on previous year. For example, I remember when I went for this, it was something Tata's, I just forgot the competition name. Sorry, but yeah, Amazon Ace also had this quiz round. P&G Sustainability Challenge also had a quiz round. L'Oreal Sustainability Challenge, sorry. Yeah, so refer to the previous year's question papers if you want to know what kind of questions are there, because some of the quizzes also have general knowledge based questions which are tough. Let me be very honest, which are tough, because generally at a B school we don't focus on GK much. So what we do is it's all about how fast you can Google your answers. So it's as simple as that. But yeah, some of the competitions have LR based rounds, just like a CAT exam or GMAT exam. They also have some mathematics. So for that, for that particular competition, you can focus on building a team which has people who know how to solve such kind of questions well. Because if you don't crack the preliminary round, it's very tough to go to the campus round. So these are generally heavy elimination. For example, 1:10 is the general ratio of eliminating people in these rounds. So focus on quizzes. Don't just go about without knowing what kind of quiz is going to come. Team coordination definitely becomes handy if every team member has to solve a different question paper. So then you can create a strategy that who will go first, so that that person can give an idea to the other teammates that this is the level of easiness, or that's the toughness of the paper and how to solve it, how they can manage time. So it's always advisable. Even in Amazon Ace, we did that. One of us solved it first, and then we analyzed that were we very fast or slow, and how to approach it within that time frame, so that you can give a idea to your teammates that let's say 30 minutes, we can't solve 10 questions, so you should have an idea to solve around 6 to 7 to just crack it. And then speed versus accuracy. Just like a CAT exam, don't focus too much on your speed. It's better to focus on accuracy. There are some competitions which will have like 50 questions in 10 minutes. There you cannot go for just accuracy. Of course, you will have to attempt many questions. But let's say a quiz has a round where you have to type in the answers. For example, numericals, where you will have to type in the specific value of your answer. There you cannot just focus on speed, because even if you write 211 for an answer which was 211.5, you will get 0 marks for that. So you should be very, very precise and accurate in those kind of quizzes. So last year, Amazon had that kind of quiz where we had to type in the answers. I don't know about this year, but you can focus on accuracy more. About campus rounds and regional rounds or nationals, I would just say that bring in multiple ideas during your campus round, which are long-term scalable, also geographically scalable in nature, and then bring out the 360-degree implementation plan for those same ideas during your national finals. How this helps? Generally, the case remains the same. So if you crack the campus round and you go to the nationals, only the scope of the case would change. The case basic problem statement will definitely remain the same. So if you had some ideas which were pretty good, and of course, if you won the campus round, those ideas will have to be good. You should definitely have an idea on how to implement them, either at a testing stage, or testing their hypothesis, or beta launch, or a full scale launch. And you should give those ideas to the company. Of course, you cannot implement a plan because you don't have money and resources to do that. But you should definitely have a table or a paragraph stating how the company can use their existing resources, or they can hire new people or new tech, and how can they enable their future growth through your ideas. So always remember that your USPs should translate into a practical solution. It shouldn't look like you presented a time machine in the campus round. Even if you won that round, it's of no use, because once they start diving deep into your solution in the nationals, you will just lose out of that. Gujot, do you want to add anything to this?
We can move ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so Gujot, you can take over.
Yeah, okay. So talking about Amazon Ace in specific, Manav, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so we were given a very open-ended statement, which was basically digitizing Indian MSMEs, which was key to Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this was the sentence, the heading. And then there was a lot of detail, a background, detail on what are the different categories of Amazon. So it was about Amazon and about MSME landscape in India. And then there were a few questions that, they had written in this format that you can see about the government policies and categories that are relevant, and what initiatives will you bring in. So a very open-ended case. And generally cases can be open-ended, or they can either be, very directive, that they want to know about something very, in particular. So if the cases are very open-ended, I think the first step that we did was to finalize our objectives, how we want to take it, because this case can be analyzed, or maybe thought about in very different ways. So people can have different ideas with respect to different aspects. So narrow down the objectives so that you know what to focus on. Moving to the next slide. So this is how we selected our objectives, and it was not that we discussed it once and we finalized it. The objectives, they kept on changing and evolving. I would say the main idea behind of them remained constant, but they kept on evolving on how we were going about the secondary research and primary research, something that we thought is very important to focus on. So this is how we landed up on these 4 objectives, and with time they kept evolving. So just don't think that in one meeting you will sit and finalize it. It won't happen that way. As you go on brainstorming about it, this will keep getting involved. But make sure that you have some focus in your mind, that this is the area where you want to work, or where you want to bring in the initiatives. Next slide. Yeah, so the first round that we had was preliminary round, as Manav mentioned. So it was guesstimate based. There were about 10 questions in 30 minutes, and there were about for each question we had around 10 to 15 sentences, wherein some data points were given, and according to the problem statement, you had to pick the relevant data points, and then you had to come up to an answer that you would write in the answer box. After that, top 10 teams from each campuses were selected for the campus round, and we have around 5 to 6 days for analyzing the case, coming up with the solutions, and then presenting the document. Now, this is one point where Amazon really differs from other case competitions. In every other case competitions, you are supposed to present a presentation, but herein we have a document which is very specific to Amazon, because Amazon in general also did not make presentations, and I think Manav can tell this to you in detail. So they work solely on the document, how the document has to be written, how it has to be presented. So even before we were given the case for the campus round, we were we had a webinar wherein they taught us how to write the documents, since most of us were new to the concept, and there were a handful of students like Manav who might have interned, so they had a brief idea about how it is. But I think the session covered everything in detail, so you do not need to worry that you're not an intern. Definitely interns might have an experience that definitely comes in handy, but don't worry, or don't think about it too much that you won't learn. They explain everything in brief on how to write the document. And then as we went on with the case, I think first 1 to 3 days we just went on analyzing, rereading the case again and again, coming on to our objectives, going for the secondary research, understanding what the MSME landscape looks like in India, then coming back, brainstorming again, thinking of solutions, then again going back and doing the primary research. Now we had concrete areas where we wanted to focus, so we did the secondary research again on those particular areas, and then we started making the document. And we made sure that we have enough time to make the document, because it definitely consumes a lot of time. You need to make sure that your document is very neat and clean and easy to understand. As Manavdeep mentioned, if somebody from maybe any other business unit also comes and reads the document, he or she should be able to understand it, what you are talking about or what solutions you are presenting. So working on the document also takes a lot of time. Talking about the campus round, so every team had 30 minutes, out of which 25 minutes were the question and answers. Now, this is the second point where Amazon Ace differs from other competitions. In other competitions, you are required to present. There's a presentation, and then there's the Q&A. But in this case, you just go, you introduce yourself, you submit the document. You have already submitted, so the jury just goes through the document, and then they start with the question answer. So you do not get a chance to explain anything that is there in the document until and unless they ask you a question about it. So hence, again, you need to make sure that your document contains everything. Primary research and anything that can support with, or maybe data supporting your whatever initiatives you are suggesting, and then you'll have a lot of question answers that jury will throw at you, and just make sure that you are calm and you answer them well. So this was mostly about the campus round. Moving ahead, all the campus winners. Okay, some pro tips. So again, we ensure that we are supporting data. We have facts to whatever thing we are mentioning in the documents, and we made sure we mention it in the appendix. Scalability of solutions is of importance. I think Manavdeep has already talked about it. Your ideas can be innovative or they can be iterative, but make sure that they are scalable, geographically and financially. Then research. I think I mentioned that also. Primary and secondary research becomes very important. And there's another, I would say, mention about it. Even in the presentation that you make for any other case competitions, or in case of Amazon Ace also, if you're making just a 2-page document, make sure that you mention your research in detail in the appendix maybe. Document has to be clean, easy to understand, and then recognizing shortcomings, if any. This can be done, through questioning your teammates. If they bring in some idea, question them on, different loopholes that maybe you can find. Maybe you can connect with your alumni and, ask them if they feel that this, it's going well, or it's in sync with the company business ethics and their culture and everything, and try to point out any shortcomings that you see. So these are the tips for the campus round.
Guys, any questions if you have? Okay, keep asking if you have.
Manavdeep, we will take up the question at the last.
Sure. Okay, talking about the nationals, I'll just take a minute to explain this. Like Gurjot mentioned, whatever we discuss in the campus round, that has to be a part of the national round. So what different do we do is we create a 360-degree model. A 360-degree model means that you present your idea as a full-blown plan, which has strategy, marketing, finance, operations, everything linked to it. So it's up to you how much detailed analysis you can do. The more you can, the better it would look like. For example, you can go till that amount of detail that you can count, you can bring in a head count of the total number of employees you want for that particular idea which you want to implement. So it can be that detail, and then you might also try to understand on Glassdoor what's the salary scale and bring out what's the cost of hiring, or let's say cross-functional teams, a person who is working for half of his time on a current role and also working on a new role which you want that person to take up. So it's up to you how detailed analysis you can create out of your idea. A marketing side is generally not only about advertising. So you don't need to create an advertising or a video ad as to say that is enacted, or you. So some people also do things like animation and all those stuff. See, those are not required. Marketing has to be, so when you present your marketing idea, it should be a presentation where you discuss what all mediums you are going to use, what's that theme of your marketing idea. It can be a hashtag, it can be a whole campaign in itself for a social cause or for any other cause. So you should bring out the strategy for marketing and don't try to market it actually in the interview or in the presentation now. In the operations part, if it's something which is related to supply chain, you should definitely try to create a flow chart where you explain the flow of material, flow of goods, and what's the lead time involved in different processes, what are the geographies you are touching upon with your supply chain, what's the fixed cost and variable cost for your operations. So these things are important. And when you combine all these things and you bring in the cost and revenue side of the business, that becomes a financial. So your financial doesn't need to have a very, very accurate analysis. You can have a financial which always talks about a range. So your range can be like 1 million to 1.2 million. So you don't have to be perfectly accurate because it's a new idea and even the company doesn't know how it will go about. So you can always bring in the estimates and don't forget to mention the assumptions along with it. That's all you need for a national round. For some competitions, you will get a buddy. Do not reach out to buddies in the beginning. That's what I think. It's up to you what you do, but buddy might make your team biased towards one or two particular things because they are people from corporates. And see, it happens that if a person has worked for 10-15 years in a firm, they only think from one particular perspective. So I would suggest you to firstly brainstorm with your team, bring out as many ideas as you can, then discuss with your buddy your ideas and discuss what he or she wants you to, and then again work on it and go back to them on the last day or the second last day. That's how you should approach your buddies. That's all about national finals, I guess. So the pro tips, I think we covered most of them. See, this was just a case study which we wanted to discuss for Amazon. It's not like we will only cover Amazon in this presentation. It's just that we wanted a use case to explain you well. So for any company, there will be something, a vision or a mission statement for that company. Focus on that first. So for Amazon, it was Earth's most customer-centric company. So we focused on this particular principle. Identify the issues. So what different you should do in a national round, I think I will cover in the next slide, this slide. So just look at the thought process which any case competition should have. It should start with a primary research, like Ujjot mentioned. It's always good to know your people. Your customer doesn't have to be an end customer. For example, last year it was the seller for Amazon who was a customer. So it doesn't mean that a person who is buying from Amazon.in is the only customer, or a person who is buying baby products for P&G is the only customer. A customer might also be a retailer from where you want your product to be sold to the end customer. So find out who are those stakeholders which are directly involved in that case. Then draw out multiple insights. So do not just look at one problem statement which the company has presented to you. Try to bring out multiple perspectives. You might also say that even if the company has given you 3 problems to solve, you are able to bring out a 4th one while working on those 3. So bring them out in the discussion so that the company knows about it, and they will definitely feel better when they discuss those ideas with you. Brainstorm, definitely. Create operational and financial models. This is not just strategy. Focus on model. Model will always create a better picture about your idea. An operational model can have a whole supply chain diagram from the raw material procurement till the customer. A financial model will have all the costs and revenue side in that. You may not create an exact balance sheet, as I mentioned. Just focus on the very, very basic things in the financial model, and that would do. Then testing the hypothesis. So this is an important part, especially for the national round. What generally happens is that we bring out a solution, but we do not test whether our customer or for whomsoever that solution was built requires it or not. So testing a hypothesis means that, let's say, I can give you an example of an Asian Paints case competition where we were working on creating a DIY paint kit for the customers. So when you create that kind of a thing, go to people around your area. You don't have to actually go out and to different geographies. You can even discuss with your parents about some particular ideas. So what we used to do was we used to get people from different age groups, and it was very easy to find in the neighborhood. So talk to your parents, 45 to 60, that bracket is done with that. So talk to your neighbors or friends and discuss what they like. So for Asian Paints, we did that. We understood that, okay, even if we bring a highly tech solution which uses artificial reality and all those features to make your room look like the one you want it to be, still the elderly would not like it because they are not, they don't like heavy tech things, right? So when we discussed it with the people who were either staying on a rented apartment, a younger generation, or those people who were just married and shifting to a new location, they were very happy with that kind of an idea, and they wanted a DIY kit, and they also wanted to imagine how their room would look like even before that room actually got converted into that. So test your hypothesis. That would give you a better idea, and then try to relate it with your primary research. So it shouldn't look like that a need was created in a research, but that need wasn't solved in a hypothesis. So those both of the things should align themselves. If not, then you might have to change your idea. Then integrate your solution with the firm's current business. I always give this example that if you are solving a case for HUL, you cannot create cars for them. Your solution should focus on the things which the company is currently working on, or something related to that firm. It shouldn't be very opposite to that firm. Now you will say that a company like Amazon is going to space, that's not interlinked. So look at a wider picture. Even if a person in 2016 or 17 would have gone to Amazon Ace and said, let's create a spaceship, he or she would have got rejected, even when Amazon would have been working on it. So focus on what's there and how you can make it better or integrate with the firm, and create a beta testing plan. So it's different from a hypothesis testing. Hypothesis is something you can do locally. You don't need data for it. It's just like a validation to your idea. But a beta testing would be giving an idea to the firm that how they can implement it. So you have no role to play in a beta testing, but you have all the role to play in planning for beta testing. And don't actually try to spend your money on people for going for a medium scale beta testing. Just create a table or create a summary of how the company should implement it. You can say, for example, if you bring in a new solution for a firm, you can always tell them that they should reach out to a location in Jamshedpur or Bangalore, and that should be their target audience for the beta testing. And then what results should they focus on? What should be the metric for their results, and all those things. And that includes the implementation plan in itself. So it's like hypothesis is a 1 or 2 day task. Beta testing is like 1 month or 2 month thing, and implementation plan is a long term thing. So now you can easily distinguish between these three. Just one thing which I just missed was the approach. See, you can have multiple approaches to your solutions, ranging from short, medium to long term, and iterative, or a combination of innovation and iteration, and completely innovative. What we both would suggest you is focus on the positive XY and the negative XY more, because if your solution is highly innovative, for 90% of the cases, it will take longer duration to implement it. It might have high level of technology involved, or a high capital investment, which might take more time for implementation. And if you are creating an iterative solution, do not make it a long-term solution for the firm, because whatever you think is iterative for the company, if you are taking a year or two to just implement a small change in the company's current work, they will do that themselves. It's not like they don't have brains to work on it. So your idea should look like something which they can implement, let's say in the next month or even tomorrow. That can be the range of your short-term iterative ideas, something they can start from tomorrow onwards and maybe complete it by 3 months. So people generally ask, what is the duration of short versus long? 0 to 3 months or 4 months would be the short term. Medium would be from 4 to 8 or 10, and then everything beyond that is a long term thing. So you can focus on multiple solutions in your document. Yeah, Gujot, you can take this one.
Yeah, I think most of the points we have covered here. So we definitely did a lot of research, primary as well, even though it was, everything was virtual and our customers were the MSMEs. We tried to get a lot of contacts online, and then, we called them and understand. I think Manav even visited a few of them nearby his house, So yeah, definitely a lot of research. I'll give you another example. So we were doing Mondelez Maestros. So therein the case brief was that we had to come up with a morning snack option. So there also we made the prototype as well. We were in campus at that time. So this was January this year. So we made sure that, we are, because it was pretty easy, every case competition won't allow you to, go to that debt. But here it was kind of easy for us to make the product in the mess itself, because our ingredients were also pretty much, easy. So we did make it. And then, first we did a lot of research on how people want the product to be, the ingredients, and, what are the calorific value that they are expecting from it, or what are the tastes that they would want. So that was all, based on connecting with them through surveys, through telephonic interviews. We even did FGDs and everything. And then once it was done, we made the prototype, and then we did the research part again in understanding how they are accepting the product. So we took that, and because we were in campus, so our main target used to be, the people around us. So we made them eat, whatever we had made, and then we got their views and how we can, modify the product, and we added all those videos, and that was a really plus point that, the jury liked. So research always goes a long way. Too much passion is basically there should be a few people in the team, if not, 4 of them are, very much into the case competition. At least 2 of them should be, they should be enthusiastic enough at every time to maybe, brainstorm a new idea or go for some other research or something, because with all the curriculum and everything, it becomes a little, overwhelming at times. But we need to make sure that at least 2 people, are enthusiastic enough so that you can carry forward with whatever you are doing. Spending extra hours, yeah, Manav has written, do not sacrifice acads though. So definitely academics, they have a very, important hold in our lives. But again, I feel like there's a lot of things that you can learn from case competition. So please balance it well. Maybe you can just cut on the parties that maybe, we carry on in campuses, even, in virtual, that might not be possible now. Thinking from the firm's end is, again, talking about the company culture and what their business ethics are, and making sure that whatever initiatives that you suggest or any other solutions that you suggest, they are in line with the company's culture and ethics. Velocity here means that you should always have a direction. Just don't go about doing a lot of things, or, a lot of secondary research. Make sure the secondary research is aligned with what your objectives are. So velocity is being in speed, definitely, because you will have 5 to 7 days to come up with a solution, prepare the document and everything. But having a direction is very important. So know what your objectives are, and then go about it. Creativity, again, having a solution which is either innovative or iterative short term. So creativity definitely needs to be in your solution. And USPs can be anything. It can be with respect to your solution, with respect to your research, anything that you feel that will differentiate you from the other teams. So that's basically about it.
Right. So, guys, 3 most important things in your document or a presentation, which you should never ignore, are marketing, finance, and business impact. We discussed about marketing at length. Just one another, again, I would just like to repeat the same thing, that don't create advertising campaigns for the firm. Those are like secondary thing. If you have too much time in your hands, you can do that. But I have seen a lot of teams only focusing on creating campaigns and ads and acting. So if you are very fond of acting, you can do it at some other place. Please do not waste time for creating those awesome videos for the firms. Those don't matter actually. Those are just entertainment sake. Financial analysis, I think we covered it again a lot of times. Focus on the basic things. You don't need to be a chartered accountant to create a financial analysis. That depth of analysis is actually not required. It happens that even the company people do not understand some of the things. So try to keep your solutions simple. Do not think that having a complex solution helps. It does not. And since you all have worked, I guess most of you might have worked before joining XLRI, so you know that that a company looks at a business impact more than anything else. So if your solution doesn't positively impact the company, let alone be, so let's say your solution is only getting a lot of investment into some idea, but there are no chances of return, a negative ROI, or it doesn't add even customers or any other thing to the firm at any point of time, that is a zero impact for the company. And if you're just bringing in some idea just for the show off that a company can do, or I don't have words to express this, but the only thing I would say is that it should at least have something beneficial for the firm too. Even if the firm is very customer centric like Amazon or many other firms, still something for the firm should always be there, and that should be clearly listed out in your company, in your document. A firm is just like that monkey sitting there. They want to earn a lot of cash. You should definitely bring in profits into picture if you can. If not, then bring in a heavy amount of market share if you can do that, or customer acquisition. So you can add X amount of customers to your idea, or you can increase your market share by X percentage, or you can decrease the amount of losses or costs involved in a particular project. Or at the best case scenario is you can add a lot of profits to the company through your idea. So there should be at least one metric which your idea should solve for the firm. Okay.
Adding just a little to the previous thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm already covering more delay. So just to the previous slide, Manu. Yeah, so the team that I was working with for Mondelez, we did not have a lot, very frankly, the three of us, we were not very good with the financials, but we made sure that, whatever ingredients that we are listing, so we Googled, what the approximate cost would be. We had all the quantities specified. So accordingly, we calculated the cost that would come up with making the product. Then we calculated, even about the equipment, that what equipment will be needed and what is the approximate cost, again, from the secondary research. And then labor costs, if any. Similarly, with marketing, as Manav said, we did not go on into, making, how we are going to go about the social media campaigns. We just mentioned that, we are going to do social media campaigns, and our approximate reach is going to be this. And in some case competitions, I think it was HUL maybe. So there was something related, some campaigns you had to come up with respect to, their soap bar Dove. So there, I think, people went and did a lot of research on how Instagram algorithm works, and there they covered a lot about the marketing. So it will also depend, competition to competition, how much you want to touch upon each aspect. But in Mondelez, we made sure that, we are touching upon all the three things. However, not very much in detail if we are not confident about something, but as much as we can do. Similarly, with business impact, we went on to calculate the guesstimates, we did what our target audience could look like. What is that number? Again, in a range, not very, sure. So we just mentioned all the assumptions as well in the slide. So do touch upon these three things. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, moving away from Amazon and other competitions. So just want to brief you about how a simple idea can sometimes do wonders, and whatever we explained in the whole presentation since the last 1 hour just goes in drain. You don't even need anything, not even a financial marketing campaign, if you have an idea which is a game changer. So it can happen. So I can just explain you what the case was. So we had to solve for a problem that Colgate wanted to launch a toothpaste in Nigerian market. Just briefing about the case, and you have to provide what will you do as a product manager and as a marketing manager. So your team should have 2 people, one prod man, another marketing manager. And how would you launch a new toothpaste in Nigerian market? There was nothing else given in the case, only one more data source, which was how the current market looks like. So when we looked at the data, it was very clear that Close Up had the highest amount of share, which was too much. It was 75% of the market, and all other brands had combined 25% in the Nigerian market. Okay, so see, it was a very new thing for us. None of us had worked in Colgate before. We had no idea how the toothpaste business is. We had no idea about the Nigerian market. So there were all the question marks around this. So how we approached it, we firstly went on to know about how our customer looks like. So a brief research about how the people in Nigeria, what are their lifestyles, where do they work mostly, and what is changing, that why would they focus on a toothpaste? Like, what are the characteristics do they look for in a toothpaste brand? So these were the basic questions which we needed to find out. And then we also needed to look at why Close Up had 75% share. So there definitely needs to be something which is enabling Close Up with such a huge amount. It's a kind of a monopoly in the market. Okay, so we went on to see the trends in the Nigerian market, and we saw that there was a phase of development in Nigeria. Now the people were shifting from agriculture-based businesses to corporate roles. And because of this, those people or the customers who never focused on their oral hygiene or breath were now very much conscious about it, because now they wanted to go to the corporate offices where these things do matter. So because of that, breath was most important criteria for them. And that was the reason they chose Close Up over any other brand, because Close Up was promising them a fresher breath for a longer duration of time. Okay, so this was first thing, which we analyzed from different kinds of research papers, which we looked at. Then we went on to see what characteristics does Close Up has, which enables it to sell more. So we looked at its packaging and content, and we saw that Close-up had something which would give a visible proof to the people that it's a fresh toothpaste. For example, having the mint crystals in it, which were silver in color. And it also had a packaging which was transparent. So a customer, before buying a toothpaste, could easily see those crystals present inside the toothpaste. And it was like a proof of concept that I want to buy a toothpaste which gives freshness. And now I can also verify it just by looking at the outer packaging that yes, it has something, it has mint in it, and it will give freshness to me, right? So these two factors enable Close-up to win in that market. Now, what we have to do is, as a Colgate, we just can't launch a Max Fresh, which was existing in India. So what people generally did was they said that Colgate should go about launching Colgate Max Fresh in Nigerian market, and then their whole focus was how they can market the product in that market. But people just forgot that a toothpaste which has become a household name like a Close-up, why would people switch? Colgate is not giving a very low cost. It's almost similarly priced. It's a competitive price toothpaste, and there is nothing substantial that the Colgate is adding. So even Close-up talks about freshness. So what if the Colgate also brings in Max Fresh? Like, why should I go and change my brand if I'm satisfied with the existing brand? So there you have to create a different strategy. You just can't say, ki, I'll go about and release a social media campaign, Instagram where influencers go, and all these are very basic things. Like everyone knows about them. You have to do something different. So we thought over it a lot, and we realized that, okay, these people, even if they were now getting educated enough to go to the corporate roles, they still relied on a lot of visual proofs for their buying pattern. For example, if from tomorrow onwards Close-up removes that transparent packaging, there will be an impact on the total number of sales for Close-up. And if Colgate brings in that packaging, the Colgate might be able to take around 10% of the share from Close-up. Still, Close-up remains dominant in the market. So now we went one step ahead. So instead of just giving a visual proof, we went on to bring in another proof which was mathematical in nature. So how do you enable an uneducated or moderately educated person to rely on a number or a mathematical thing? What we did was we introduced a device which was very cheap to manufacture. It would hardly cost around 10 rupees for one device, which is called a breath analyzer. Now what we did, we introduced free breath analyzer along with a Colgate toothpaste. Now what happens, we said that let's copy everything from Close-up. We will have a transparent packaging. We will have mint crystals. We can add another kind of crystal, two different crystals, and also color the toothpaste in a dual tone. For example, white for whiter teeth, and then gel-like thing for a freshness thing. Right? We did everything we can. This was the product management side, but the major game changer was the breath analyzer. What it was, we had two SKUs for Colgate because we realized that a person will always think that the MRP of the Colgate contains the price of breath analyzer. So if I purchase a Colgate with that device today and I have to go to repurchase, I will not want a Colgate with another breath analyzer because I already have it at my house. So then I will have another Colgate which is same but without any device in it and lower priced. So now I win the battle twice. So if I go and purchase a Close-up, I don't get anything along with it. Here I get a free device with it. Now if I only want a toothpaste, my toothpaste is priced 10 rupees lesser than Close-up. So I'm winning for both the customers, existing as well as new. What it did was, so we brought in some testimonials from the people that yes, after brushing their teeth with the Colgate, they could now analyze their breath and see on the meter how fresh it is, right? And since Colgate is now giving an additional proof, so people will start using it and it will occupy the market shares subsequently. So you become a first mover in the market. Even if the competitor tries to copy it, it will take a lot of time. Until then, you will capture a lot of market share. So that idea just changed the progress of any other team to win that competition, definitely, because everyone focused on videos, creating marketing campaigns, posters, TV ads, radio ads, everything they could have done. But no one focused on customer psychology. So in some of the competitions, you can go a step ahead and focus on the psychology part of a customer instead of just focusing on what's visible from the outside. So these things do help. I just wanted to discuss about this particular case. I think Gurjot has covered Mondelez. Gurjot, anything left, you can just cover it here.
Yeah, so I think just for reiterating, I'll just say that, primary research is something that worked really well for us, and we made sure that we did a lot of it. So there was, the format was a little different for the competition. The first round was that we had to submit a 1-minute video of what our idea was about the new product. And we made sure that, we have a presentation as well as an audio, that describes what's going on. So the audio was covering the main parts, but we made sure that whatever slides are playing in the background, they have a lot of details so that, they know that we have worked on it and we have put in a lot of thought and we have data also backing what about, our idea and innovation. Then when different teams were, selected. After that, we had consumer emotions. So we were supposed to define what target audience, is for our product, and the company would provide us with, 5 to 6 people whom we can, do an FGD with. So we had a focused group discussion with 5 to 6 people whom, we didn't use, and they were from different parts of India. So I think that really helped, and it was a recorded, the Zoom meeting was recorded, and I think it was with the company. So we made sure that, we presented the product and whatever suggestions that they were making, we either had, some reason that why we are doing it in a certain way, or maybe we modify our product accordingly, if possible. So we took in a lot of, suggestions from there as well. And we did not stop with just one FGD. We went ahead and we did FGDs with other people. Now, again, talking about the team, something that really helped us was that the 3 members that we were there in the team. I was from, so I'm here from here, North Punjab. Then we had another member who was from Gujarat. So we got, that perspective. And then we had someone who's from Andhra Pradesh. So we were kind of, covering all the territories. So we made sure that, our friends, family, relatives, they have very different perspectives. And we brought them together on one platform. We did, all the FGDs. And then we got a lot of insights that we incorporated. Another thing that really worked was the prototype that we created, and not just the product. We also focused on how we want to package it. So I think that detailing also really, played well for us. So we designed, what the colors would be, how it would, look similar to, as if it's from a Cadbury portfolio. So looking at the colors, if we want to give it, a feel that is, it's a luxury product, since, it was a little, the cost was higher, and keeping in mind how, generally Cadbury chocolates are, priced. So we kept all of those factors in mind, and we put in a lot of detail there as well. And the national finals, the 4 teams that we were there, we had, the format was very different. It was kind of a roast. So we had to present our whatever our idea was or our presentation was in in 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, and then we had to question the other team on their product. Why are they going for this product, or any other point that we pick up from their presentation. And once we are done roasting each other, then the judges came in and they roasted us. So they had very difficult questions for us. They were very focused on how you have calculated this particular thing, these financials, or buy a particular ingredient in it, or so very detailed approach. And we made sure that we are covering all those details. So I think that's all about Mondelez.
Thanks, Gujot. Okay, guys, moving forward, I guess we are almost at the end of this presentation. Please ignore my GIFs. Okay, so as we promised, if you are awake, if you happen to be awake, so we have something lined up for you. Just let me stop my screen share and then share it again. Okay, great. So guys, you need to bring in your mobile phones into picture now. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, is it visible?
Yeah, Manav, you can see your screen.
So guys, you can see at the top, you just need to go to menti.com and fill in the code. I can see 86 people, okay, 84 people. So I expect 80 to join at least. Even the organizers can do that. So they don't know the answers. Okay, till the point you people join, please join with your real names so that we know who is the winner. Otherwise we'll give the prize to the second one. Okay, so just giving you the a brief about the rules of this quiz. Number 1, there is only one right answer. Number 2, this quiz is working in such a way that if you answer the question, what were the rules? Yeah, so if you answer it fast, you will get more points. So it's not like you only have to answer it correct. The faster you answer, the points will increase. And after every question, there would be a leaderboard. So you can look at your rank there. And Gujot, how many winners do we have to select this time? Top 2, top 1, or top 3?
No, I think top 2 is fine.
And we have so earlier we had this gender criteria, now we don't have, so it can be 2 boys, 2 girls, or 1 boy, 1 girl, whatever it is. We don't give,
let's just go with top 2.
No partiality to any gender. It's not a B school where you get extra points or lesser points.
Wow, offense taken, Manav.
Yeah. So okay, I was just kidding, guys. 39 people have joined. Others, if not joining, it's okay. Like, you're not losing out from $1 million. You might also be. It depends. Let's keep a hard stop after 20 seconds. If someone is facing trouble joining, they can just let us know. Okay, I can see comments about me. Why? I just check the comments if you have any issues with joining, guys. I can see half people here. Okay, now even lesser than that, 39. Thanks, guys, for these GIFs के लिए जो भी comments you are writing. Are we good to go, Gujot, or should we still wait?
No, if anybody's facing trouble, then please let us know, or else you can just go ahead. It's already, 9:30.
Okay, 10 seconds countdown. 8, 5. I don't count all 10. Last 3 seconds. Okay, we are going ahead. So if anyone wants to join in between, he or she can, but you will not get any prize for that. Okay, guys, I'm starting. So keep all your attention on your mobile screens. The faster you are, the better score you will get. Okay, get ready. 43 people we have. So here's the first question for you. Which are the top 3 rank case competitions as per D2C? So you can go and Google it. You will lose time. You will lose points. Please, this is a very tough question. I can just tell you. What you think is not the right answer. Once everyone answers, this question would automatically stop. Focus on accuracy than speed. I can assure you, you will win this because not everyone will have a right answer to this. Okay, last 2 seconds. I knew it. Yeah, I knew it. That's why I said, please focus more. I saw this pattern. Like everyone thinks Google will definitely be in the top three, but I don't know. But Flipkart was in the top three. Other two are the same for both the options. You can check the D2C rankings for this year. Why it's not moving forward, I don't know. Okay, let's look at the leaderboard now. Only 5 people have answered it correct. So I can see the 5 people here. And based on the speed with which you answered, those are your points. Okay, guys, no issues. Only 5 people answered it correct, so everyone is still in the game. Now, all other questions are not based on GK, so it's all are based on the presentation. We just have a tough question in the beginning. Okay, so the next question is, which of these can be excluded from your presentation? Please think over it. Everything can be a part of your PPT, but let's say you have to remove one of these. So what would that one thing be? Just a hint. We did not discuss anything about that. So now I think you can get your answer. Okay, guys, the time is up. Great. Financials. We were so much focused on financials, guys. I said that your financials can be easy to understand, but of course, the financial slide was the last one where I said that these three things should never be out of your presentation. So please, you were sleeping. It's okay. Okay, so here's the leaderboard now. I hope those top 5 still remain somewhere in the top 5. No, 3 of them answered wrong. So others have joined in. Okay, so Praveen and Vivek have answered both correct. The quiz gets easier as we move forward. We only have 5 questions, so this is the midpoint of the quiz. Okay, so if let's say you're participating for ACE this year, what should be your focus area? Yeah, we covered everything. Somehow we covered it. Okay, the time is up. Not everyone is answering. I don't know why. They have lost the hope. Awesome. So I told you it gets easier. Uh, Guys, document is very, very, very important, and so do the leadership principles, because that's the 25% culture thing which we talked about. So those who have marked this new designing the slides, see, designing the slides is the least important thing. You can see our slides; those are black and white, and that doesn't matter. Ignore the GIFs again, but the slides were black and white in nature, and we had those kinds of slides. So you don't have to focus much on designing them. Okay, so here's the leaderboard after this. Praveen is on fire, answering every question correct. Okay, guys, moving on to the second last question. Oh, sorry, I just missed it. Okay. So out of the options where you can spend highest amount of time, just focus on these options. I would say sleep, but yeah, it's up to you. Oh, the last one looks good too. Asking your mentors to just solve the case and give it to you. That's the best option, if you can. So I think I gave enough hints. Okay. Okay, finding the teammates. Team bonding. If it was team bonding, it would still look good. Just finding the teammates. If you spend 80% or 60% of your time, you will not be able to do anything for that case. Don't focus too much time on just finding. Praveen will win definitely if he answers the next one correct, irrespective of the time. Nice. Let's see the last question. It's an easy one. Try to answer as fast as possible. I can't see any organizers in the top 5. Yeah. Okay, so highly innovative solutions are generally just generic statement. I would say always acceptable. Okay. No, guys, it's not always acceptable. So let's say I solve a case for a company like Dabur, and I ask them to create a machine which would transport any human being to space or at any other location with just a in just a 1 second. So it's extremely innovative solution. What will Dabur make of it? So not highly acceptable solutions are also not acceptable if you are going for a startup and you are proposing them to invest $1 million to bring in a technology which maybe other companies are using it and they are also getting benefit out of it. But you will have to look at the scale of the company and the amount of capital they have to spend. So it's not always acceptable, but it's most of the time medium to long term in nature, because it will require something or the other which has to come from outside. It can be money, it can be people, or technology, or patents, or something. So that's why it takes more time to implement it. So please don't say it's always acceptable. Okay, so the last question is done. Praveen answered it correct, so he will stay at the top. Number 3 changes. Number 4 also changes. Okay, so Praveen, Vivek, these are the 2 people who have won this round. Let me share